a reminder to be gentle with people and rigorous in your systems. The Dreamer, written and conceptualized by Jordan Fisher, illustrated by Jordan Evans. The spark was a force that traveled the earth and present at the time of humanity's birth, giving the gifts of inspiration and passion. It was up to the humans to put dreams to action. One day Spark met a boy who seemed worthy of his gifts. He had the potential to make worldly shifts. Spark had a feeling that something was wrong. The boy fell to the ground, but Spark knew he was strong. Pushing through setbacks, the boy never gave up. What rules were enforced, Spark thought he'd wake up. The boy built an empire, make things convenient, ignored negative impacts. In lieu of achievement, the spark, it had to find someone patiently waiting upon taking its cue. Spark waited and waited for the perfect person. Needed a balance. It needed to be certain. Decades of burnout yielded a silence. Those who spoke out were served legal compliance. An entire generation never taught to assemble, people convinced to give up their potential. Standards of living increasingly dwindled, forced to hold it. Families were swindled. Their children marched towards the only thing they knew, a life of labor with nothing to bloom. Technology comforted as best as it could. All people wanted was society understood. Finally, the spark saw a boy walking toward, thought to itself, and begun to smirk. I shall plant a seed inside his head. What if the world came together and shared instead? United in labor, differences disappeared. The path to freedom seemed abundantly clear. The boy was brave and definitely a thinker. The spark thought him worthy to make people tinker. The dreamer pondered his thoughts on the way to the factory, his stomach in knots. The man stared in the distance. Recognizing this boy's stance, the banker began to worry for his future finance. As he entered the work site, the scenery shifted, the light bulb turned on. His vision now lifted. He could never go back to the old ways of seeing. The spark had created new ways of perceiving. Vibrant people among buildings that weren't pretty. Dreams left dormant, exchanged for a neighbor's pity. There weren't enough hours in the day working to live instead of working for play. Luxury was time for the rich in big cities, leading to the privileged, sitting on their state's committees. The dreamer recognized low pay and unsafe conditions. Even worse, his company funded his town's politicians. Law after law, worker protections were repealed. The impact on his community was shockingly revealed. Politicians elected amplified poverty and went even further to restrict people's sovereignty. The dreamer came home after work, feeling a strange emotion. He didn't want to go back. He'd rather play by the ocean. His granny came into his room and offered support. Learning what happened, she said the employees should file a report. Some people made fun of the dreamer's vision. They laughed in his face and created workplace division. It's always been done this way, and always will, the boy pushed back, saying, but Tom, think of your daughter Jo. It's not only about wages, but affects the laws of our land, our rights and freedoms at stake if we all don't make a stand. Armed with a bullhorn to amplify his mission, he gathered the workers willing to listen. Days of trying to reach his coalition, they all agreed to sign his petition. The dreamer strolled through management's door. Signed petition in hand, his boss could not ignore. You're fired, he said. Get your things and leave. The boy looked in shock as he started to work, but decided instead to believe. The dreamer went factory to factory, spreading the word, targeting subsidiaries, so the workers were heard. The bankers were human, just like the rest. Lack of connection brought forth more protest. After learning that things weren't always this way, workers went on strike for better pay. From industry to industry, workers grew louder. The dreamer bursted, but he never felt proud. He knew not to worry and trust in his people. Their calls for change were valid and legal. The banker stared at the crowd as the dreamer rested. His lifestyle threatened as people protested. What is the cost for this way of living? As he started to weigh the methods of his giving. Perhaps I am not the right person to fix these problems. Maybe it is the people who can actually solve them. Word spread to nations that labor was rising. Rich men ignored masses despite the advising. Monopolies were controlling the populace wealth, so workers devised a plan to strike under stealth. From country to country, each worker connected. Soldiers lingered close by, but in unity, people were protected. Monarchs retired, and soldiers went home. Only the banker pushed back as he sat all alone. How will anyone know that I am unique or special? He wanted to stand out. He wanted to be known as helpful. A woman walked in and said something profound. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, do you think its impact will make a sound? It's the age-old question of what things are worth. What is more helpful, feeling important, or saving the earth? Everyone's excited for your next contribution. Let's try to solve for the world's pollution. I'm so proud of you, said the spark. It was the love from his people that he decided to listen and dissolve his ego. His power and skills were the to create change. He felt it important for new ideas to be exchanged. The banker relented, and changes were made. The young dreamer released, just as he prayed. Communities had seized their means of production. Nature recovered, and gone was corruption. Even the banker felt love between people. Feet in the sand, he ignored calls from legal. Gone were the systems designed to fail. Communities came together, and a life worth living finally prevailed. Please never ignore your spark. The world needs it. The end. The link will be in the bio if you'd like to purchase a hard copy, or visit Union Seed's website if you'd like to get involved in the labor movement.